All right. Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Matters of the Heart and Soul podcast. So I'm excited today because I have Cherie Hoeger joining me today, and we are talking about building impact without losing your soul. And I feel like what Cherie has built over the last 8 years, 8 to 10 years, right?
Eight
Um,
years. Yeah.
really embodies this. On this platform, we talk a lot about wholeness, shedding old programming, mindsets that keeps us small. And so Cherie is on a mission to really to I guess get rid of period poverty, right, Cherie?
That's right. Yeah. We really want to end period poverty through our sustainable and reusable products, which we feel like are the best products to be able to solve period poverty.
Yeah, so tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got started with what you're currently doing.
Yeah. So, like you said, I'm the co founder with my husband for the company and also the CEO. And we've been around in 8 years. So, launched in 2018. And, I'm a mom of 6 children. 5 of them are daughters. And so, the way that Salt really started was I was having a phone call with an aunt in Venezuela. So, my mom is from Argentina. My husband was born in Venezuela. His family's from there. So, I was speaking to his aunt there. And she was describing how she wasn't able to get anything on grocery store shelves. She wasn't able to find baby food. She wasn't able to find most groceries, let alone personal care items like pads and tampons. And she hadn't seen one in years. And I started thinking of my 5 daughters and thought, what would I do in that situation? And so I started looking into reusable options to replace pads and tampons. And that's when I was introduced to, menstrual cups and discs and period underwear for the first time. And I was a woman in my 30s. I'm now 44 and was like, where have these been my whole life? I didn't even know these things existed. And so I tried them out and, was a little skeptical at first, like, okay, maybe this would be used for an emergency situation. And was blown away by their benefits. The fact that they're, more comfortable to wear, they're convenient because I could keep one in my purse and keep one in the bathroom. And I was like taken care of. That's all I needed. No more like runs to the store. And they last 10 years. And so literally never have to buy tampons again. And, I've actually found out later ours can last longer. We have a really premium grade silicone that can last up to 40 years. We only market it towards 10 because that's already long enough. So they just blew me away. And as I discovered these products, I thought more people need to use these. I want to get this out to friends and family, but I couldn't find products that I really felt were high enough quality to be able to recommend. And that's when we decided to create our own products. And so Salt launched in 2018 with our flagship product, which was our first menstrual cup. And then, we later created the disc and then our period underwear, and everything is our own proprietary designs, our custom innovation from, this mom of 5 daughters who just really wanted to find products that work and create them.
Yeah, so I want to start with the cups. First of all, I am 45 and I've never used a cup or a disc. So, after kind of doing some research on you and your company, I'm definitely going to try it. I'm definitely going to try some of the Salt cups. I think it's important also that we talk about, I think, healthier options, for women. I think that period, menstrual cycle is just been something in secrecy that women talk about among themselves and not even among themselves sometimes, because I don't know how you grew up, but it was very taboo to talk about your period. It really was.
Yes. And we knew that coming into this category, that was going to be a challenge. It was going to be our greatest challenge and also our best opportunity because
Yeah.
yes, it's a taboo topic. And then we've got, these alternative fringe products, as some people consider them to be, that are even more taboo in that taboo topic. So we got a double whammy against us. But it also provided this opportunity to have more straightforward conversations. And I think because us, boomers, millennials, definitely the Gen Xers, like have definitely lived with these hush hush tones and the way we've talked about periods where it was taboo, we've had this pent up demand to be able to talk about it openly, and I see this from the Gen Zers and from our Gen Alphas, and they're like, what? I just talk about periods with my boyfriend. He picks me up tampons. Like they don't care. They don't care. And they just don't want to live with the status quo and they just want better products. And I love that because we really should have more straightforward conversations about a cycle that affects 50% of the population and affects us for 40 years. Like, why is this so taboo? And why is this seen with so much shame? And so I know you talk a lot about intuition in your show, and it just following the spirit and following that light energy, right? And that's really what I'm trying to infuse into period care in the menstrual cycle. This is a beautiful cycle that is really an indicator of our health and vitality as women. And it is a powerful cycle that perpetuates the human race, just like the powerful cycles of Mother Earth. So we really created our brand, our messaging, our imagery to reflect that natural landscape, that kind of return to the natural, to something essential. That's why we named it Saalt. It doesn't stand for anything. We wanted a word that invoked this feeling of returning to the basics. And salt is an essential element in our bodies, and it is in the landscape, just like the menstrual cycle is to human life. And so that's really what I'm trying to bring to this category: dignity, freedom, beauty, all the things.
Yeah, and I love it. And I understand that you are co-founder with your husband. And so how has he acclimated to dealing with a company, and all you guys talk about is period, all day long, right? And also with 6 girls, 6 daughters. So how has that been for him, actually?
Yeah, and we have 5 daughters and 1 little son at the end, so 6.
5 girls. Okay.
I tell you, that little boy already knows more about periods than most men, I think. So,
and I think that is so powerful, because I think our men and our young boys will follow suit if the women and the young girls own this part of ourselves.
100%. I always like to say it's really up to us as people with periods, as women, to talk about periods in a straightforward manner, because our male colleagues, our friends, they take their cues from us. So if we go up and talk about it in hush hush tones, then that's how they're going to feel like they have to approach it with us. They're like, okay, I don't have permission to speak about this openly. But if we're really straightforward about it, they've received that permission and they're more open to it. And that's really what my husband discovered, per your question, is, first of all, he's a girl dad, right? 5 daughters. We didn't have the son until we started this company. So a girl dad for much of our married life. And he really wants to see what I want. I want a better life and a better world for girls to live in, safer, cleaner, healthier for our daughters. And he wants them to progress. It's so sad to see how girls fall back on their schoolwork and on their economic ability to progress if they don't have period care. And we can talk about that later with period poverty. As soon as girls hit puberty, school dropout rates skyrocket, especially in underdeveloped nations where period poverty is really prevalent. So we want to create that better world. So he has acclimated. We have no TMI filter here. We say at Saalt, and it's a beautiful thing. Nothing's off the table. And he's really learned to empathize with the conditions that women live with every day, not only periods, but the 4 phases of the menstrual cycle, that luteal phase that happens before menstruation. You have all these different conditions that women have, whether it's endometriosis or PMDD or PMOS, which used to be PCOS. There's all these different things. Some people are inhibited from even going out into the world during their periods because they have such heavy flows. And he's learned all about that. And really, I think what he's grown is an appreciation for who we are as women and what we deal with all the time and how we manage through it when we're bleeding.
Yeah. And I feel like just that example has a global effect. Just as a married couple, having this type of company, how has it really aligned you as a couple, as a married couple? Has it brought you guys closer? Just because I feel like it's such an intimate discussion every day, and because you guys have so many daughters as well.
Yeah, not everyone can work with their partner. People tell me that all the time, but we happen to work together really well.
Yeah.
And it has aligned us in so many ways. And we were always aligned. We've had a very strong marriage. It takes work. There's ups and downs all the time. So it's not like all roses, but we have really been intentional about keeping it strong, which I'm proud of. But it has brought a new level of respect for both of our strengths and weaknesses and how we can help fill in the gaps there. And so we work really well together. I mean, a very practical example is I'm a technical writer. I've always been a writer. I went to school in English. I graduated in English with an editing emphasis. And so I'm strong. I'm not really strong at drafting. I'm not strong at drafting copy. I'm very good at fine tuning it, tweaking it, getting it to the right audience and making it amazing. So oftentimes I'll rely on John, my husband, to draft for me. I'll say, hey, he's just a great orator, just like words just flow, right? I'll be the one who gets stuck on the first sentence and it needs to be so perfect that I don't move on. And so I'll say, can you draft for me? And then I'll just fix what you say, you know?
Yeah.
So that's one example, but he also works a lot more in product development for our company. He likes to get into the nitty-gritty of engineering, where I'm more on the marketing end, and I'm the face of the company, and I'm doing interviews and I'm sharing with the world about what we do. And then, I also am into all of our marketing metrics. So we have our strengths, and it's been amazing. I'll say the company has really helped us both grow so much personally in our personal growth. I'm a better speaker, presenter, and we've learned to work with people, different personalities, and to become good leaders.
Yeah. So, and I understand you scale to 8 figures in revenue by your 3rd year. So, how are you ensuring that your mission stays authentic?
Yes, great question. So we are a certified B Corp with a 1% social impact mission to donate our products across the world. And we focus on 3 major pillars, and that is improving menstrual health. Second is girls' education. And third is environmental sustainability. And actually, I forgot, we just added a 4th pillar this year, and it's WASH, which is water, sanitation, and hygiene. And so our mission really matters to us. There's no greenwashing or good washing here. It actually is what drives us forward. And that 1% give back isn't 1% of profits that can absolutely be finagled. This is 1% of annual revenue. And so since 2018, we've donated over 160,000 products in 56 countries to help keep girls in school. So how do we not let that, mission be lost? Well, first of all, everybody who's at our company is passionate about our mission. They're involved in some way. They're bought in. A lot of them have come to our company because they are tired of just working for the man, working for profit only. They really want to align their personal values with a company that has a mission. So I'll give one example. Our VP of merchandising used to work at Tommy Hilfiger. Loved her time there. She talks about their, some experiences that were maybe a little bit more negative, but really she made the switch to come to our company, despite it being, a smaller company in all respects, but because she wanted to do something that she would feel proud of, that she would feel fulfilled by, and that she could feel proud talking to her daughters about. That wasn't just like fast fashion, or wasn't just about maximizing profit. And she's thrilled to be here for that reason. And so we find a lot of our team members that way. And we have to be able to have that great team that's aligned in order to scale. So they share our core values, they share our passion for philanthropy, and our passion for wanting to improve lives.
Yeah, I think that's beautiful. So how are you personally? How are you in your day to day? Is there any practices that you're doing to maintain your soul health and to continue with the impact, but maintain your soul? Because we know how pressure can be when you've gone mainstream, and understand that you are in some big markets, Target and Walmart and Costco. So I understand that that's a lot of pressure when you grow to that extent. What are you doing to maintain just your soul health?
It's a great question, because it's something that I love to talk about. Really, people who are trying to maintain this life, being a working mom, having a career, or being an entrepreneur, they look to work-life balance. And I believe that work-life balance should be stricken from our vocabulary, because I don't believe that it works. I think it's a myth to be able to perfectly balance your life between 8 hours of sleep, 8 hours of work, 8 hours of family time. It just never happens that way. And so what does it do? It inevitably leads to mom guilt, right? You feel guilty for not having these perfect boundaries when it's never going to be that way. So I champion a word called work-life integration. And it's all about making work for your life, and really ensuring that you're taking care of the company's biggest asset, which is you as a leader, right? Which is me, for our company. And as I prioritize my self-care and prioritize my personal growth, then it makes the whole company better. It lifts the whole team. So I do have some very strong practices that I do. And I'll give credit to an amazing book called Essentialism by an author named Greg McKeown, but he teaches how to find the vital few areas that are most important to you and how to put those first to find fulfillment every day. So my vital few, after I read his book, are 5, and it's first, God, my character, my grounding with the universe. Second is my health. Third is my family and relationships. So that's my marriage and my immediate family and that the extension. And then fourth is my impact. So the impact I make with Saalt and impact philanthropically. Yeah. And then sixth is, well, I said 5. I have a 6 extra, but it's deliberate living. So that is my passions, my talents. I love to dance. I used to be a ballroom dancer. I love to sing, and those things bring me joy. So it's all of those things. So I have a grounding morning routine that hits all of those areas in the first 90 minutes of my day. And I know it sounds impossible, but it's little things that really fill my cup before I do anything work related, before I turn to email, before I pick up a phone, definitely not scroll, right? I do that. And what happens is that then my day feels amazing because I started it with my cup full. And really we could have, a fire going, fire as in problems that happen all the time. Yeah. Right. And it doesn't matter because I already start the day feeling fulfilled. And since I have a full cup, I can share that cup and I have the energy to be able to give. And so that's a really grounding routine for me. I also have affirmations that I say at the beginning during that morning routine. And the other thing I have is a very nerdy habit tracker that I have in a spreadsheet because I love Excel, and it has 50 habits. And I know it's a lot, but I'm a pretty high functioning individual. So 50 habits that I've identified that are getting me to my best self. So essentially I looked at who I want to be my best self. I want to be giving. I want to be kind. I want to be a great mother. I want to be a great spouse. I want to, bring light and love to the world. I want to, reach out to people and share goodness and compassion with them. I want to be healthy and fit and strong. And then I want to maintain these talents. So, I list that out, paint that picture, and then say, what habits do I need to do every single day to be able to be that best self? So I work backwards and I have those habits down. Now, do I hit them all every day? No, I actually have a little score where I rate myself. It's mostly 9 days. I rarely meet a 10 where I get everything. But the beauty is, even if I hit just 80% in the week, talk about a compound effect. I'm doing those every single day. And guess what happens when you do that? Well, you become your best self because you're living it.
Absolutely. My question is, were you already doing this? Was this already a part of your practice before Saalt came along? Because I also believe that we attract what we already are. So I feel with all the success and so quickly and how purposeful Saalt is, I feel like you were already doing something to bring this, to attract this to you.
So I was always grounded. I'm a pretty spiritual, intuitive person. And I was not this disciplined before. I was always disciplined, not this disciplined. So what Saalt really has done is, because it's taken up so much time, it's taught me how to maximize my time. And I can tell you a story of the time when it happened. I remember we had just landed our deal at Target. I'd just come from Minneapolis. We negotiated an exclusivity agreement to launch in all Target stores nationwide. And this was just in our first year of business, launching in our second year. And it was really what was going to put Saalt on the map. So it was, the biggest account of my life. I'd never even pictured myself, pitching Target. And so I'm coming home from this plane ride just on cloud 9 and excited, but at the same time feeling this intense dread. And that dread came from knowing I already feel burnt out. Here I was, a mom of toddlers. I had 5 kids at the time. And though I was excited, I realized, wow, this job is just going to get more demanding, and it's going to be more demanding in my time. And I don't want to feel that guilt. I don't want to feel that mom guilt. And I don't want to misalign with my soul purpose when I've always been a pretty grounded person. And so we'd given 2 years of blood, sweat, and tears, putting this business together. And I was really worried about the burnout. So then and there, I decided I need to figure out how to make this work so I don't lose myself. And that's when I started integrating work-life balance or work-life integration. And then also started reading books and saying, I need to figure this out, putting these tools together. And it was really a combination of reading amazing books, applying those books, and then deciding what I was going to do each day to cut out all of the fluff and anything extra, because I only really had time for those most important things in my life. And so I don't watch any TV, for instance.
Same here.
I don't have any time
Yeah.
for shows. I will watch an occasional movie. That's great, but no time for series. So there's some things that I don't do. I read a lot. I multitask a lot. Whenever I'm working out, it's not just pump up music. It's always a great inspiring podcast or a book. So there's things I have to do to make that work, but to me, they've been worthwhile trade-offs. So to answer your question, no, I didn't have it all figured out. And
Yeah.
I've always been grounded, but to maintain that, I really did have to do some soul searching. And I'm glad I've come to the other side of that in a maximized place because I was intentional.
Yeah. Now, as far as period poverty, globally is estimated that 500 million people who menstruate daily experience period poverty. So, can you tell us a little bit about, just real details of who you're helping right now?
Oh, I love this. So we truly believe that our products are best positioned to end period poverty because they're long lasting. The cups and discs can last 10 years plus. We've had ours independently tested.
Which is
They can last
amazing. Yeah, that's amazing.
Yes, they can actually last up to 40 years. So as long as your dog doesn't eat it or you don't like throw it in the toilet,
Yeah.
you don't lose it. That's a long time because that's the average reproductive lifespan for a woman is 40 years. So one product can last the entire reproductive lifespan, which is incredible for us in privileged circumstances in the US. It is absolutely life-changing for those experiencing period poverty. So let's talk about what that really looks like. Let's say you started your period today and you have nothing to care for yourself. No pads and tampons.
Yeah.
Would you go to school? Would you go to work?
Probably not. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so 500 million women and girls have to make that decision every month. And that's why school dropout rates skyrocket as soon as a girl hits puberty. That's why women fall behind in economic progress if they have to stay home and they don't have this access to pads and tampons, which, in impoverished nations where people are living below the poverty line of, $2.50 a day, they can't afford these products. So what do they use? Well, banana leaves. They'll tear bits of their mattress pads. They'll use old cloth that's oftentimes very unsanitary. Sometimes girls will sit on a piece of cardboard on their bed and just wait out their period week. In Nepal, where we do a lot of work, there's a practice that is now outlawed, but it's still practiced in rural areas called chapati, where women and girls are sent to these chapati huts, usually outdoor huts, and they literally sit on the ground and just let the ground absorb their period. These are the options, and these are very real. I know your podcast is all about meaningful conversations, and I think we need to let our hearts break for this situation and realize, oh my goodness, this is what women and girls who don't have access, these convenient options to have disposable products have to live with. This is where reusable products shine, because you give a girl a cup that can last 40 years, one product that is, not super costly to make, to make a good design and have it really high quality is one thing. These are US made, they're super high quality, but we can donate these, right? And they can literally break cycles of poverty for generations, something this big.
Yeah.
And so we're trying to get out as many of these products as possible. I know it's a learning curve. I'll tell you, when girls have nothing, the learning curve gets a lot smaller, and they're very, very excited to have these products and have something. And, in cultures where there's taboos around inserted products, because there absolutely are, I could combat those taboos. Breaking the hymen does not mean that you're not a virgin. That just means that your hymen broke during, riding a bicycle or climbing a tree or any of the normal activities.
Yeah.
But I still understand that those taboos exist. And so we have our period underwear that has a built-in gusset that we also donate, if there's those who need alternative options that aren't inserted options, then we have that as well. So we have products that are long lasting that can help solve this period poverty, which is why I care so much about getting them out there.
Yeah. So, and in the US, 2 in 5 adults in the US struggle to afford period products. So I appreciate that you are manufacturing everything here in this country as well. But can you hold up your cups again?
Yes.
So first of all, what is it made of? What type of material is it made of?
Yeah. So these are our cups. Our discs are the same material. So it's 100% medical grade silicone. It's biocompatible. It's hyperallergenic. It's the same silicone that's used for permanent medical, implants or stents and so forth. And so super safe and really the safest product out there. And so these are safer for our bodies. They're really only made out of silicone and silicone-based dyes, literally 2 ingredients, and they're safer for the environment because then you're not throwing away disposables. And, there's been a lot more information about the products and tampons. For instance, you have the toxic heavy metals that the UC Berkeley School of Public Health released a study that showed that there was toxic heavy metals in every tampon that they studied. Now, they were trace amounts. We don't need to get a lot really scared, but they build up over time, right? 40 years of placing these inside our bodies is something that you have to really consider. And then there's other things like the tampons, the cotton that's used will often be bleached, and that can lead to a byproduct called dioxin. That's an endocrine disrupting chemical. And there's other chemicals that you may not, know that are in there. And so this is a much safer option overall. I have a lot of peace of mind knowing that my daughters have started with these from the start.
Yeah. And so do you have different sizes? How do you insert them? How does a young girl or a seasoned woman who's never used it before, how do you insert this?
I love this. I teach about these products all the time. So anytime I can teach, and I know this will be audio and video, so I'll explain what's going on. So those watching video can see, but then those listening can also hear. But first of all, we have a teen cup. So this is our smallest size. So it's a little smaller than our small cup. There's these beautiful colors.
So and then anatomy of teenagers.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. And really they move up. Most teenagers move up to the larger cups very quickly, but this is a little less intimidating, right? And then we have our small size cups, and these hold 3 tampons worth of flow, and our regular size, which is 4 tampons worth of flow. And then you've got our discs, and we have both a small and a large disc. The small disc can hold 4 tampons of flow, and the large disc can hold 6 tampons of flow. So this is literally the highest capacity menstrual product ever on the market, higher than tampons, because 6 tampons of flow. You can hold a lot. So for those with heavy flows, discs are amazing. Now, I'll tell you about how they work. If you're, a little too timid to try cups and discs, we have the underwear, and I can get into that as well. But really quick, I'll just give you a quick tutorial. So we'll take our cup, really just play some origami. You fold it into a little figure C shape, or you can fold it into this nice punch down fold, which makes the insertion point about this as small as a tampon. And then you insert it horizontally into your vaginal canal. So not so much vertically like you would a tampon, but more horizontally towards your tailbone. And then you let it open up within the canal. And then you want it to be able to pop out into its full bulb shape. And so sometimes you'll have some folds in there. So the trick is that you just give it a little twist, and then you tug to make sure that the suction seal is working. It has these little air holes where you can break the suction. So it does use suction seal. It scares people, but it really isn't. It's not like it's going to suction to your cervix or something, or to travel up there.
And then on this one, you just pull with the tail end of that. You pull out.
You actually use it to locate the cup, but you don't pull on it because of that suction seal. So you locate the base right here, and this base, you pinch it. And you pinch it, and what it does, it breaks the suction through those little air holes. And so you pinch it at the base, then you wiggle it out, and then you can rinse it. We have these little travel water bottles. So if you are in a public restroom, you're not near a sink to rinse it, then you can rinse it with that. Or you can just get a wet paper towel, or frankly, you can just put it back in there. You don't have to rinse it. It came from the same place. You can just stick it back in. But then you can wear it for 4 to 6 hours, or up to 12 hours on your lighter days, 4 to 6 on a heavy day. And after you dump it, you just place it back in. And so that's what you use. So people are scared that, they're messy, or, oh, I got to touch blood, but really they're odor free. So you don't have that same odor you have with disposables. Your trash can isn't smelly. Really the only inconvenience is that you do have to wash your hands after, because you can get just a little blood on your hands, but to me, it's a far cleaner experience than people realize. They think it's going to be messy and gross, when actually it feels cleaner. And it feels like it doesn't have that odor, and you just feel like you're taking care of yourself, and it feels more dignified because you don't have to rely on these disposable products. So
I think my biggest question was just, okay, how do I empty it when I'm at work and I'm busy and I'm just in the stall by myself? How do you do that? But you explained that well. So for a young girl, we normally may take just a small little pad or a small little tampon, you stick it in your pocket, and you can go to the restroom, without a whole bunch of people know what's going on. How does the cup and maybe the squeeze bottle you had there, how does
Yes.
that work when we're moving to the restroom?
Amazing. Yes. So first of all, it's nice because I just keep these in my purse. We made them very small for that reason, right? This little squeeze
Okay.
bottle. You can also use just any water bottle. So if you don't have a squeeze
Yeah.
bottle yet, use any water bottle you can take with you. But
Yeah.
if you start your period, that's the beautiful thing is off how many times, I was like, raise your hand if you started your period and there was no tampons around and you had to go
Yeah.
searching, you had to ask a coworker. The beautiful thing is it has a little carry bag that you put it in. You can just keep it in your purse all the time because it's small enough. You're always prepared. You never
Yeah.
have to worry about trying to locate one.
Yeah.
So it's always there. I always keep one in my car too, just in case it starts when I'm traveling. But
Yeah.
you take it in, when you're in the stall, you can rinse it, like I said, right in the stall. Or if you don't have a squeeze bottle, another trick is to get a paper towel wet before you go into the stall, and then you just kind of clean it and then stick it back
Yeah.
in.
Yeah. I love it. I love it. I love it. Love it. Love it. Um, what do you think is the future of Salt with your current products? Because one thing I do know is that it's important to stay creative. It's important to keep creating other products. Will you be creating more of these products in the future?
We do. We really want to support women in all phases of their reproductive life. So you're talking about menarche, which is your periods, and then
Yeah.
pregnancy, and you
Yeah.
have postpartum. And our underwear can also be used for postpartum bleeding. People don't often realize that, but with child number 6 for me, I wore these cloud shorts. They're a boy short style. They have this extended gusset. So it's a longer gusset than usual, and it can hold up to 6 pads of flow, which is amazing what we can do with underwear. And look how thin it is. It's like the
Wow.
size of a nickel. And that I wore for postpartum bleeding. Now, the first 2 days are like, you need those monster pads because it is
Yeah.
a bit of a bloodbath
They
after
send you
bleeding.
home with these huge pads and the knitted underwear and all of that. Maybe it's different because my son is 17 now, so it's been a long time. But yeah, so that looks much nicer.
Yes.
And I understand you used them when you were postpartum. So did you feel any of that on your skin or anything like that? Did it, is it quick absorbing?
It is, yes. And so
Okay.
you're asking about products. So first of all, our product innovation, we're looking at maternity bras, we're looking at swimwear.
Yeah,
So all the things and everything we can do to support people perimenopause, and during menopause, our underwear can be used for bladder leaks. But
yeah,
yes, I use this for postpartum bleeding. Those first 2 days, I did use the monster pads that come with the mesh undies, which are the most hideous things you can ever
yeah.
wear. And those monster pads turn into log when you're trying to sit there and nursing, especially. Like, it's just the worst experience. I
Mhm.
literally called my team and cried, thanking them, our PD team, for creating such an incredible product when I had child number 6, because it was my first time trying these. And it's this like stretchy, comfortable,
Yeah.
soft modal fabric that's made out of bamboo fibers. It's just amazing. It's actually renewable beechwood fiber. And I wore this for the rest of the month because you can't use inserted products. So I couldn't use my cup or
Right.
disc, but I could use the underwear. And for the first time, I felt dignified postpartum because I
Yeah.
was able to wear something that just looked beautiful. So, yes. And I wanted to talk about our gusset layer. It is a really unique innovation that we actually have a patent on. And that's because it absorbs leaks quickly through the top layer. And that top layer is both hydrophilic and hydrophobic, which means it attracts water and it also repels water. So it
Mhm.
attracts water down on the top layer. It leads it into an internal layer that absorbs all leaks, and it doesn't let it come back up so you feel dry. And that's what our patent is. It's the thinnest and driest gusset technology on the market. And so that's really what makes us different from other period underwear companies, is that all the other, period underwear on the market really absorbs well, but our
Yeah.
unique layer keeps you feeling dry.
Yeah. I love it. I love it. Um, what are some tips that you can give other women that maybe have that desire to grow their business, but have the mom guilt? And they are trying to integrate their work and their life and their family. And I think you do it so beautifully. I love it. So what are some tips? If there was maybe the top 3 that you would say, you know what, these are the top 3 things you have to put in place.
I would say, first of all, don't sell yourself short. Don't think that you have to accept the status quo. Instead, look at what you can do, especially post-COVID. I think that employers are a lot more open to being able to be more flexible with family life. Our families don't have to be hidden behind the scenes anymore. We all know they exist.
Yeah.
And so let's capitalize on that. So one thing that we did, for instance, and this is just being creative, finding creative solutions, is, when I was a mom with young toddlers, they were working alongside me. I was suddenly becoming more of the face of the company. More of my time was demanded of me. And so my husband said, well, what if we had an in-office preschool? So that, you can give your best time to your child and you don't have to give this half-focused time to both your work and your children. I said, that's amazing. And so to his credit, he said that. So we've had an in-office preschool that's free for all of our employees that has been in place since our second year of business. And we have anywhere from 10 children. I keep pointing this way because I'm in the office and it's just over there. And my husband, I have 2 children in there right now who came with me to work today. And they love it. You're right. They get to play toys, get attention. And I hopped in there and I read them a book and I'm there for diaper changes and hugs and I come back. And so being a mom and having a career doesn't have to be mutually exclusive. And I also don't have to drop my child off at daycare and feel that mom guilt of not seeing them for 9 hours of a day. So it's a beautiful thing. And that just came out of a creative solution, right? So that's one of the tips. Second, I would say is follow your dreams. I created a company that has my purpose and passion, along with a for-profit entity. So my passion for philanthropy and for-profit are mixed together because we're a certified B Corp that believes in doing things sustainably, ethically, and does good for the world, while we're also creating amazing, innovative products, and we have amazing marketing, and we're doing that all alongside. So I get to do what I do best as a marketer and also what I do best as a philanthropist together. And I use, team members who have that same passion to join me. And so you don't have to, have your work and life be separate. You can do what you love and love what you do.
Yeah.
And I say the third thing is, there's a great quote from Oprah where she says, the greatest adventure you can take is to live the life of your dreams. Yeah. And so manifest, put up those dream boards, write down and get specific and be intentional with what your dreams are, because you can make them happen. This world is an incredible place that, you can make your best life, especially in a wonderful country like America. I come from immigrant heritage, so I know a lot of people don't love to see America as a great country, but when you've lived in Argentina or Venezuela, you think America is an incredible country. So I love this country and I love the opportunities that it provides. And I'm grateful that we have the opportunity to live our best lives here.
Yeah. And I think we hands down can manifest whatever we choose. I think in the right alignment, we could definitely do whatever we want. Can you explain what Certified B Corp is to our listeners that may not have ever heard of that before?
Yeah, a lot of people haven't heard about it. It's basically a third-party certification that measures the social and environmental performance of a company. And so it essentially makes sure that you're not good washing and greenwashing. So you're actually walking the walk and doing what you say that you've committed out there. And so it's a third-party certification. They're called B Lab out of California, that actually has you take a rigorous assessment that measures your performance in like workers and governments and environmental, stability and sustainability and even your shareholder governance, all of these different areas, and how you treat your workers and how you treat your suppliers and your ethical practices. And you actually have to show them, receipts. You have to show them your bylaws. You have to show them all the documentation to prove that you're actually doing what you say you do. And then you get a score, which is, out of 200 points. And so you have to have a minimum of 80 out of 200, which tells you how hard it is. And we have recertified three times now and received this B Corp certification. And so a lot of people will reach out and look to partner and to be employed by B Corps because they really want to work for a company that, does what they say they're going to do and walks the walk.
Yeah. What do you think are some major differences in what we've seen in the generations in the past of women versus what Saalt is doing in the philosophy of Saalt, and how you're integrating your family in this? as a co-founder and as a woman, right? What do you think are some major differences? Because I see some big differences there that I feel like Salt is really going to pave the way to integrate our families in our businesses as women.
Yes, I love this question because that's really what our whole life is about. My husband and I have learned to integrate everything, which is we don't have to just say, okay, this is our work and you don't really love my work and this is my personal life and I have to keep them separate, right?
Yeah.
It's integrating everything and blending it together and bringing meaning to everything that you
Yeah.
do. And really, on a very high level, I like to say I'm just sharing light with the world. And
Yeah.
I'm doing that through innovative products that are improving lives. I'm doing that through education about, women's health and our bodies. I started a podcast recently also where I get to interview experts and get answers to some of the most common questions that we get about hormones and about conditions and about cycles. So trying to bring that education out to the world. And then also family saying we can do it as a family. 6 kids, I get a lot of blank stares and a lot of people gawking, oh my goodness, how do you do this with 6 children? And fortunately, since my children have grown up in this life, they've seen what it's like to have a career and to be a mom. And so I'm emulating that and showing them by example. They are also more independent because they do have to rely on themselves a little bit more. I can't be a helicopter mom. And so they've learned to be independent, but also because I'm intentional with my time, we maximize our time together. So we do a lot. We travel a lot. They get to see a lot. So for example, some ways we've integrated that is the first time I went for an impact trip to Nepal, I took my, 3 oldest daughters and they went and taught about menstrual products,
Yeah.
alongside me. And so you had these group of Nepali women saying, who is this, white woman who's trying to, impose these crazy cups on us? And I sent my 8-year-old daughter up and said, go show them how to do the folds. And, that really broke down the barriers.
Yeah.
We don't practice white saviorism in our company. That was a very rare occasion when I went and taught, but usually we teach the staff, and the on the ground staff are the ones who teach, and they integrate our products because we truly believe that the community should teach each other. And so sometimes we travel, but that's one example. Another one is we went to go visit a manufacturer in Sri Lanka for our underwear. So our cups and discs are manufactured in the US and our underwear is in Sri Lanka. And it's with an incredible company that we also chose that matched our B Corp standards. They were the first LEED Platinum certified company in the world for a manufacturer. They have very ethical, sustainable practices, and they employ a majority female workforce. They have 98% are the seamstresses that they provide life skills training for, and they also provide clean water in a 10-kilometer radius of all of their factories. So an amazing company. And we went to go visit them, and we said, hey, we're bringing, our children along. And they're like, are you sure you want to do that?
Yeah.
Why don't you two just come, bring them later? And we said, no, that's one of our non-negotiables. Like, we're going to be gone for 2 weeks. We're going to bring our family along, and we're going to make a vacation out of it. So we have to make some trade-offs. So we brought John's parents, my husband's parents. They babysat and watched the kids while we went and did our work-related items. They were happy too. They love being with the grandkids. So it was a win-win for all. And then after, we're able to do our work visits, then we had an extended vacation. We rode elephants, we went surfing, and that was just an example of integrating work and life.
Yeah, I love it. And I feel like when we are in alignment with our spiritual center, um, and when we can shift everything around us, I think especially as women, I think there's something innate in us that we want everything to be in alignment with our spiritual center. You said it as I'm sharing light with the world. And I feel like when we are blocked from doing that, something breaks down.
Yeah, it's true. I really have to be mindful of grounding myself. I just happened this weekend. Today's a Cancer full moon, the day that we're recording here, and I just felt this intense need to ground myself. So I, sat and had my meditation and just practiced gratitude and just looked in my children's eyes and was present and grateful for them. And sometimes I really have to ground that, but we do. I think you're absolutely right. I do think women are more naturally intuitive and nurturers and caregivers. And I am more introverted in the sense that I derive my energy from my inner self. But I am very extroverted. I love speaking with people, but I really get my energy internally. So I have to make time for that.
Yeah, I love it. I love it, Cherie. I love everything you are doing, and I just love how you're integrating everything. Is there anything any book, I know you mentioned one already, but that you could recommend to our listeners. It may not be about specifically period care. It could be about anything. It could be just something that helped you along your way, maybe in grounding more or just getting into that alignment. Is there anything else you can recommend book wise?
Oh my goodness, I read so much. I'm like, what can I recommend? I love Melinda Gates' book, The Moment of Lift. I love it because she describes, she's gone through the ringer with kind of the patriarchal society and with what she's been doing through her philanthropic mission. And she's fought some intense barriers, and she outlines that in her book and talks about philanthropy and talks about power of getting women together. So I love her for that. So that's a great book. I also love Celeste Mergen's The Power of Days. She is the founder of Days for Girls. So that one is more about period care, menstruation, and about period poverty. But then also, I ground myself with so many different just spiritual podcasts and books.
Mhm.
And I find little nuggets everywhere. I actually love reading near-death experiences. I've loved
Yeah.
a podcast called The Telepathy Tapes, which is, blowing my mind into the possibilities of what humans are doing. So I'll just leave those as nuggets of fascination, and everyone can discern, for themselves. But yeah, I will say I don't have any like very specific book. There's more business books, and I love that book Essentialism that I mentioned. Another one, actually, I will give you one. It is called, you might have to edit this. Hold on. We were doing so good. There was no editing.
That's
I'm
okay.
Like,
No, it's okay.
I'm going to make sure I get it right.
Yeah.
You tested me. I was on a roll. I was doing so good. I need to find his name.
And
See.
we want to make sure we give the right name anyway.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, give me just a minute. Let me make sure, because I've got kind of a mom brain and I forget names. So let's see. There it is. I think it's. I can see his face, but I'm like, Benjamin Hardy. Okay, be your future self. Okay, I got it. All right.
Okay.
Another book I would recommend is called Be Your Future Self Now from Benjamin Hardy. And it's amazing because it really helped me with that practice that I described before of figuring out who your future self is, who your best self is, and then aligning yourself with that best self. And when you do that intentionally, then you get there much faster than you could ever imagine. And you're embodying that every day.
Yeah. What are some things personally for Cherie that you are looking forward in your future self right now?
Okay. I love this. So I felt a very strong energetic pull last fall. I'm sure it had to do with some new moon or some astrological energy, but it was to write a book about work-life integration and about some of my experiences. And really, even though the title is focused a little bit on the myth of work-life balance, the book really is about maximizing yourself. And it's sharing the practical tools that I've used to be able to build my business as a mom of 6. And so I'm about, a quarter of the way through that. So I'm authoring my first book. I'm excited to be able to share it with the world. And truly what I want to do is I want to help other women, career women, but any women, any parent, anybody who just wants to become better selves. I want to give them practical tools to be able to do so.
Yeah, and I think that so many of our women feel like they do have to choose, like they have to choose between maybe being their business self or being their mom self. I think that we can have it all. I think, and it becomes really, really clear when you get into that alignment. You will know what just doesn't deserve your time. Like you said, I don't watch any TV because it doesn't serve you and where you are. So there's so many things I think that are time wasters that when you get super, super clear, it's easy. To me, it's easier than the other way.
Yeah, it's actually like choosing what doesn't serve you is harder than like what's better and what's best, right?
Yeah, I find that, once I got really clear on what my job was here, what light I need to be serving, everything else was like, oh, I can totally let that go. And the things that is to serve me is going to come in really easily. So I think it gets easier.
I agree.
Yeah. All right. So what is the greatest matter of your heart today at the recording of this podcast?
This is such a hard one because naturally it's my children.
Yeah.
All the time. It just really is. I have this 3-year-old son. He was just the most adorable thing. And I just look at him so many times and just think of what a miracle he is, and his beautiful bright eyes and his beautiful face and his cute little voice. And I just think of the miracle of life. And of course, I'm a Cancer. I'm an intense mothering type of soul.
Mhm.
And to me, children are everything. I truly think that they can heal the world. And I just love children. And along with that, I'll say just the crimes against children really, really get me. So
Yeah.
that is probably the matter of the heart, with the dichotomy of the beauty, innocence, and purity that comes with children. And then, those that abuse that. And so I get very passionate about any abuses against children. I can't even imagine why they happen, but I know that people are different than me. And I just use the power of prayer to do my best to call down angels and to call down, the help from heaven to help those children. And so many do make it through difficult situations and become amazing people. So that's the biggest matter of my heart, is that I just
Yeah.
truly want every child to thrive. And I try to do that in my own family and everyone that I touch.
Yeah, I mean, kids really are our future, and I think that we should protect them at all costs. I love it. Do you currently have, because I didn't realize your son was 3, that is still very
Yeah.
young. Do you still deal with some mom guilt a little bit from time to time?
Yes, I do sometimes. So I'm not perfect, that's for sure. I've definitely created these, amazing tools to help me not experience that so much. But, there's really busy times. I have some really busy days, and he'll say,
Yeah,
"Mom, can you just play with me?" And I'm like, "I have a meeting," right? And so
yeah,
that's tough. But I've also created a very amazing environment for him, where he has the support of family. He has 5 older sisters who are like, he basically has 6 moms, right? Who I'm like, "Hey,
yeah.
can you play with him and jump on the trampoline?" Since I can't, they're like, "Sure, mom." They love him. So I have also known that I put these tools in place to, it doesn't have to all be reliant on me, right? It takes a community. And so I
It
can feel it
does.
there. Yeah.
I love
But
it. And it does take a village.
my oldest,
And I mean, girls are the fact that you have 5 girls, because girls I find are so mature. They're so mature. How old are your girls?
yeah, that's what I was gonna share. So my oldest is 19, so she's out of the house and has started college, and then my youngest is 3, so I'm, like, in the thick of it. It's a very
Okay.
busy time of life for me. So hopefully I can be an inspiration that if I can do it, you can do it. You can survive through it.
Absolutely, yeah. So, is there anything else you want to leave with our listeners about salt, about anything at all? I mean, I've enjoyed this time. It's just time go by so fast, but I just love everything you're doing. I love everything you represent. And I love it. And I just even love the fast growth that Salt has had. I love it. I really love it. I love it. Yeah.
Oh, I appreciate that. I would say believe in yourself. Don't
Uh,
settle for the status quo. Follow your dreams, follow your passions, create your best life. We're able to do that. We live in the best times, the times that have been most conducive for women, which is also a little sad because there's still a lot against us. But if you
yeah.
look at past, and the past centuries, like, we have more rights, more availability, more health, and we can continue to push that forward and to push progress for women. We are the ones to do that. So find the creative solutions, advocate for yourself, and follow your dreams, because it's a beautiful time to live.
It is. And I think we are in the time of a rise of the divine feminine. And I really think you're definitely embodying that and putting that into action. Because I think it's important that we know all the things, but we also have to put it into work every day as well. So I agree. I think this is definitely the time, a great time to be a woman and to put all those things into action. So Cherie, it was a pleasure. I enjoyed it. Thank you so much. How can everybody, I know we mentioned some of the places that we could find salt, but go ahead and let everybody know how we can get some of your products.
Yeah, so you can find us on our website, which is salt.com. That's salt with 2 A's, so SAALT.com. We're also on Amazon, so you can find our cups and discs are best-selling there. And then on Target shelves, we have our cups on Target shelves. Our teen underwear line is at Walmart. And we also have a nice bundle at Costco.com. And then you can find us on all of our socials, so Instagram and TikTok and LinkedIn and all the places at Salt Co. And then
Yeah,
tune into our new podcast, which is The Salt Show.
nice. And I'm going to try. Do you recommend the cup or the disc for me?
Yes, great question. So you can use either. So both could
Okay.
work. For most beginners, we say use the cup first. It's a little bit more
Okay.
straightforward. It's just inserted into the vaginal canal. For if you
Okay.
have a heavy flow, go for the regular size cup, or go for the regular size disc. Now,
Okay.
discs, we didn't really get into it, but I'll just tell you really fast. They're great for
Yeah.
those that have a weaker pelvic floor that really can't, hold the cup internally as much. They're great for those with an IUD because it doesn't have suction to seal. So this won't accidentally pull out your IUD if you use a disc. And
Okay.
they're also good for mess-free period sex. So
Okay.
no
Okay.
questions, I'm teasing. But they are, because instead of sitting in the vaginal canal, it has a flexible basin. So
That's important to know, though. So
it's
I
amazing.
don't. So my cycle's about 3 days. No real heavy. It's not real heavy. It's gotten like amazing as time has gone over. So I'm gonna try the cup.
Okay.
And I'm gonna let you know how it goes. But I'm excited about it because I think I heard about cups like a long time ago, but nothing consciously aware of like in my everyday. So this is great. I'm also a healthcare provider, so I'm also going to recommend this to patients who are interested, who may be wanting to use something different. If they're having issues or something like that. So
I think it would be great.
yeah, I'm really excited about just the fact that it's available and that we could put the word out there as well in the healthcare industry as well.
I love that. And I would say go for our smaller cup if you have lighter flows. That could be great. The regular cup could be great too. Also, there we go. So this is our small cup. You can find this one on Target shelves. So you look there, or on Amazon or on our website.
Squeeze and see, right?
Squeeze into a C and you just insert it, let it pop open. This also little travel water bottle is a great tool to have to clean it. We didn't go over cleaning, but to clean it, you'll want to sanitize it before you use it and then also mid cycles. And there's some easy ways. We sell a steamer where you can just put a little water in and steam it. That's easy. Or don't do the boil method that you might see on social where, like you boil it over the stovetop and put it in a wire whisk. That's the hardest way to sanitize it.
Okay.
All you have to do is
drop it in in like a pot of boiling water. Do not.
You could do that. It's just the hardest way. The easiest way is you get a mug and you put it in there and you put it in water in the mug and then you put it in the microwave for 3 to 5 minutes.
Okay, I see. Okay.
That is much easier. Or get our steamer, which is great. And then the other thing I'd recommend is our seamless underwear. It looks like this, and it comes in black. It comes in all colors, and it is this stretchy material. And it can be like a panty liner replacement, or you can free flow into it. But you can work for sweat, for bladder leaks, for everything. And this is such a great everyday one because it has no panty lines. So I use it for working out. It's quick drying. That's a really great one. So I would recommend that as well.
Does it come in the nude and black, or is there other colors?
There's all sorts of colors. So it actually comes in like every skin color. This is just like our terracotta.
Yeah, I know most women like kind of the nude color anyway. So
I know.
I was just wondering, nude or black is what a lot of women go for. When they're doing
it has skin tone diversity colors. So like I said, it has darker, it has lighter, and then it also just has black. And then we have some fun colors too. So
yeah, I love it. And I think it's great for, women that's perimenopausal, menopausal, even beyond menopause, who have bladder issues, all of that. So I think it's just so good. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it.
All right.
Yeah, Cherie, it's been a pleasure. Guys, this has been another episode of Matters of the Heart and Soul podcast. This is a platform where we unite our minds with our hearts for perfect alignment. Cherie, thank you so much. And guys, take care, and I will see you at the next episode.
Thank you, Janie.
You're welcome.